Welcome to Life in Focus. I'm Dr. Alessandra Wall, and this is your Monday Motivator. So, at Life in Focus, I talk a lot about the importance of self awareness and the need to create space and manage stress through getting rid of noise. The noise in our environment, the visual noise we're exposed to all day long, but also the noise of the chatter in our head. And there's this exercise I have people go through that's called the art of doing nothing. And it is exactly what it sounds like. Basically, it comes down to learning and practicing the art of sitting down a minimum of 2 minutes, up to however many minutes you have time and the desire to do. And allow yourself to daydream. Allow your mind to run. Allow yourself to be free of obligations and to-dos. Now, it might seem silly, but let me explain how this simple exercise really has huge benefits for you. And it hits on all three aspects of what we look at in Life in Focus, which are insight, overcoming roadblocks, and moving into action. So from an insight perspective, when you practice the art of doing nothing, what you're really doing is creating space and time to check in with yourself, to become more self-aware, and to build insight. At the same time, when you learn to sit and do nothing, to free yourself of busy work and your attention to your handheld devices and your screen and your work, what you're really practicing is the ability to sit quietly with your thoughts and your emotions, which might also allow you to develop the ability to sit with distress. When you can do those things, sit with your thoughts, sit with your emotions, and tolerate distress, you give yourself an opportunity to better understand what your roadblocks are and to overcome them. Finally, when you get in the habit of practicing the art of doing nothing, this is an incredible thing that happens, which is that you start noticing all these periods of time in your day that you filled with busy work that don't need to be filled with busy work. You learn that there's lots of space and there's lots of time in your day that you have available to yourself, and you can use that time to move forward with action and create change. Now, I've done workshops and spoken publicly about the art of doing nothing, and there are two big questions I get. The first one has to do with meditation. People want to know what's the difference between this and meditation. In really simple terms, meditation is a practice and a skill that requires kind of active engagement from the mind, whereas the art of doing nothing is about disengaging. Not disengaging from your thoughts, but instead of trying to make your thoughts go in a certain place, allowing yourself to be with yourself and notice where your thoughts naturally go and notice how you feel here and now. The other thing with meditation is, for one reason or another, people tend to have negative associations with it, maybe anxiety or trepidation. And what I'm talking about with the art of doing nothing is basically learning how to daydream. The other question I get is, where am I supposed to find time to do this? So I'm going to be very, very pragmatic. At the bare minimum, all of us spend a few minutes every single day on the toilet. And I know it was not very classy of me to bring that up, but people have gotten into this horrible habit of bringing their devices into the bathroom with them. So if you really are that busy, how about trying not to bring your phone, not to bring your tablet, not to bring work into the bathroom with you, and use those few minutes to sit and do nothing. Now, if you're like the rest of us and busy but not that busy, there are all these other small opportunities where you can build it in without having to create this huge new habit. So the few minutes while your coffee is brewing, or your tea kettle is boiling, or you're heating your food in the microwave, those are minutes that you can use to practice the art of doing nothing. Other great moments to do this are a minute or two after you park somewhere, either at home or at work, and before you enter the next building. Just sit in your car for a few minutes and stare into space. I love doing it in the afternoons. I use it as a break with work. I live in San Diego, so it's pretty easy. I will go sit outside, or if I can't sit outside, I'll look out a window and literally just allow my mind to run its course. And then I've had some parents talk about that moment where they close the door and for the night on their children, sitting down in the hallway and just using those few minutes to daydream and practice the art of doing nothing before getting on with their evening plans. Is that the first few times you practice it, it's kind of hard. And if you find it hard, this should distress you. I want you to use that challenge as motivation to continue practicing this. People get really anxious at the thought of sitting down and doing nothing. So what you might notice if you put a timer on and you force yourself to do this, let's say 5 minutes, is that the first minute or two, you're really restless. You find yourself thinking about all the things you need to get done, want to get done, should be getting done. And after that, there's this moment of frustration at one's inability to sit and just be. And when that moment of frustration or guilt hits in, usually people will find themselves relaxing, calming down, kind of sitting back in that moment. And you get this one perfect moment of just like kind of bliss and peace. And the first few months you practice this, that moment will be very rapidly followed by, again, the sense of, okay, so now it's done. I can get on and get moving. That's a completely normal process. But the more you practice this art of doing nothing, the quicker your mind is going to be able to enter that state of daydreaming or flow. And the more effective it becomes, and the more pleasant it becomes. So again, my challenge for you guys this week is to find 2 to 5 minutes every day to sit and daydream and practice the art of nothing. Notice how at the beginning of the week, this is going to be kind of difficult, but as you progress throughout the week, it's going to feel more and more soothing, more and more pleasurable. When I started this 3 years ago, I could barely do 2 minutes without feeling antsy. At this point in my life, I can and have literally done it for hours at a time. So with that in mind, there's your motivation and your focus for this week. Art of doing nothing, 2 to 5 minutes. And please get in touch with me if you have any questions or if you want to share how awesome this exercise is. My email is Alessandra, 1L, 2 S's, at lifeinfocussd.com. Or you can reach me on Twitter. My handle is life, the letter N, and then focus. Or Instagram, which is lifeinfocussd. And then there's always Facebook. Take care and have a great week.